relatives, welcome to the shared experience. My name is Raven, and today I'd like to share another channeled message with you. So, today's message was channeled on the new moon, which was on January 11th, so 1/11/2024. I have been channeling this message off and on for months, if not closer to a year. But I really haven't had the confidence to share this message. And my confidence has a whole other issue. But for today, it feels like I'm just really being pushed to share this. And whatever I'm sharing with you, I'm not saying that it's necessarily new or groundbreaking information, but I feel like the way I channel it and the connections that I have to nature and spirit, there's just something about this message that feels urgent and it feels needed, and it might help someone. So basically, when I connect with the moon, I don't just connect. I've built a relationship with the moon, and I understand that the moon affects my day-to-day moods and emotions, and some people can develop a strong connection to the moon and other people cannot. But I'm a moon child. I'm one of those people who can connect to her and look to her for guidance and wisdom. And so I'm learning that I can't hold on to these messages, that I need to share them and essentially give them away. So I feel like the moon is trying to give out a plea about the earth. And some people believe that the earth is the child of the sun and the moon, because the earth revolves around the sun and the moon revolves around the earth. So again, I feel like the universe has provided us with all that we need. And so I feel like the moon is communicating a plea for her daughter, her child, her son, whatever, her child, because she's in danger, right? So we've all been hearing about climate change, global warming, all these things, but I don't think enough of us are really listening. And so when I channeled this message, I write down everything that I get and comes through, and I'm going to try to communicate that to you in the best way possible. So I might be reading from what I wrote, but I'm speaking from my heart, and I'm speaking from the divine source that connects me to the moon and to the earth and to the sun. So when I use the term relatives, for me, it means that I am connected to all living things. So you are my relative, my neighbors are my relatives, my family are my relatives, my children, my pets, my plants, my rocks, my stones, my garden, my earth, my all living things I am connected to. We are all connected to each other. And collectively, I feel like humanity is really struggling. And so I live in the United States, but in actuality, each state is sort of operating like its own country, right? So I recognize that there is war and genocide and slavery and so many negative things happening throughout the world, right? And I can't help but feel like in the United States, at least from my perspective, we obviously have a very individualistic view and very individualistic society, right? We live in so-called communities, right? But in our communities, everyone is separate, essentially. But really, we're not. Really, we're not separate. But, each person has their own house. They go inside, they shut the door and do their thing. Go back out the next day, out into the world, do their thing, right? But what the United States or Americas were originally akin to, I guess, was not being individualistic. It was more about being community oriented, right? Family oriented, tribe oriented. And until the United States was colonized and genocide was conducted against the first people of these lands, the entire functionality, the beauty, the culture, the appreciation for Earth was stolen, was robbed, was taken, was inappropriately, improperly acquired. And so these damages obviously did not just occur in the Americas. These assaults did not just occur in the Americas. I understand that and recognize that every country has likely faced some sort of genocide or colonization. Every country, every continent. So what I feel like is happening is definitely a wake-up call for all humanity, right? Not just people in the United States, not just people in Ukraine, not just people in South America, not just people in, you name it, right? I feel like nature essentially is trying to get us to understand that she is speaking to us. So the universe, nature, the stars, the clouds, the sun, the moon, all these energies are trying to speak to us. Now, I know, I get it. Everybody, doesn't believe that, and that's okay. I'm not here, let me promise you, I'm not here to tell you what to believe, but I am here to share what I believe in the ways that I think. And I know there's other people out here who feel this way too. But if you don't feel this way, maybe it's even more reason why you should listen. So I believe that nature is speaking to us at all times. I can walk out in nature and truly connect to it and listen to every single thing that I hear, right? I can hear the wind, I can hear the trees, I can hear the birds, the squirrels, I can watch the insects. Nature is always trying to communicate with us. Nature has its own language that we should be paying more attention to, or at least attempting to learn and understand what these signs, symbols, and omens are saying, right? Because nature, earth, moon, and sun, they are so intelligent and understand what is needed without us even asking for it, right? And so I feel like nature, earth, universe, has its own language, and we as human beings, human species, all of us, doesn't matter what race, doesn't matter what color, doesn't matter what land, doesn't matter. We need to learn to understand the language of nature, right? And it doesn't have to be through science, right? We don't have to be scientists to understand nature. We've never had to be scientists to understand nature. Nature had been understood way before all these scientists came into play. So by learning to speak the language of the universe, of the earth, of nature, however you want to call it, she is asking us to speak her language fluently. She is asking humans to speak her language, the language of nature, fluently. If we take the time to learn her language, study her history, learn about her cycles, her children, her relatives, her life, her work, her wounds, her scars, her curves, her edges, her mountains, her hills, her peaks and her valleys, her rivers run deep, her oceans reach far and wide. Her oceans surround us, engulf us. Her creatures, the finned, the winged, the furred, the simple-celled structure, the fungi, the grasses, and the trees. We must truly study them, or at least become aware of them, and become aware that they speak a language and that we should be respecting all of these things. Every single individual thing that we encounter on a daily basis, we should be respecting them. We should have a mutual understanding that we are connected to everything. To truly know and appreciate her beauty is to truly know her love. Nothing about her is perfect, yet every part of her is beautiful. Imperfectly, stunningly beautiful. It saddens my heart to see all of the harm that humans have done to her. Infinite potential. It saddens my heart to see and know all of the harm that humans have done to her infinite potential. Our priorities as humans are demanding a shift. Our priorities as humans are demanding a shift. Every massive storm needs to be taken more seriously. Every massive storm needs to be taken more seriously. Every predicted storm needs to be taken more seriously. People need to be on alert for any and all predictions in storm areas. Elected officials and citizens in coastal areas need to be on alert. Elected officials and citizens need to understand the dangers of people living in coastal areas. Mother Nature is no longer asking us to pay attention. She's no longer asking us to stop the warning. She's no longer asking us to cool the planet. She is going to cool herself by any means necessary. So through floods, through storms, through volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, and even illness. So all I've been seeing is people talking about, the rise in cancer. The rise in cancer is linked to the vaccine. And okay, it very well could be. I can respect that 100%. But what about the fact that we've all just gone through a global pandemic? We were all stressed, right? Our diets are trash, right? Especially in the United States. I mean, maybe in other places it's not. Our healthcare, trash, right? Our government is more concerned about war, supporting war. Someone I choose not to name, former president, more concerned about that, more concerned about taking down other people's things. But when do we refocus on what really matters? I'm waiting for it. I'm not sure when it's coming, if it'll ever come. I have no idea, but I just keep waiting for people to start saying, like, when does our government start to focus more on the people versus the money or the weapons or the business or the economy or the. So back to Earth, right? I think she's just no longer asking, right? She's no longer making us aware, because we've been aware of this for many years, right? She is now going to correct herself. That's why we're seeing all these storms, right? She's like done trying to warn us. The warning is over. As consumers of the earth's, we are consumers of the earth's precious resources. We are living in colonized societies, right? So we're definitely consuming her precious resources regularly. We will be the direct victims in her path of destruction. We, right? Us, humans, humanity. We're not exempt from anything because we're in westernized culture, because we have a military. We're not protected from this destruction. And rightfully so. We've spent far too long being the collective abusers. Yes, collective abusers. The time is now. The time is now. We must change our ways of inhabiting this precious space. We must live a more sustainable life, focused on bettering our global community, our collective community, our relative community. So many things are collapsing and will be collapsing. We live in a land where nothing is free, but everybody gets paid. I believe our government is collapsing. Our citizens are suffering. Wealth gaps are growing. Our children are being left behind again because our systems are failing. Now, I'm not a full belief that we should just be turning over our children to the government and to systems and education and blah, blah, blah. I'm not of that belief. Because I feel like I can educate my kids with what I feel like they need to learn. So don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not thinking like, oh yeah, no, just turn it over to education. They're the ones who should know. I don't believe that. And honestly, like, I'm not even sure that I believe in the education system at all after my awakening, to be honest. Like, I just don't. I question everything now. So I personally believe that what we're experiencing in the United States is karma right now. I think that this is a karmic return for the United States and the Americas. And I think all karma will be returned, positive and negative, right? Positive and negative, because not everyone is out here being high contributors to what we're doing to the planet, what we're doing to the universe. We must change our ways of inhabiting this space. We must change our ways of inhabiting this space. I believe that the storms are trying to tell us that we need to change the way we are living. There will be a collapse of all that was built on the false reality, right? All that was built on the false, all that was stolen. All the truths are going to be revealed, for better or worse. And so, relatives, it is my prayer, it is my purpose, it is my intention that we move into our own truths. May we each love, see, and be who we really are. May we all recognize that we are all connected. May we all not be afraid of listening to and understanding these truths that I just spoke about. Let us recognize and understand that we are on stolen land in the Americas and in many other continents. Let us understand that those truths have been ignored. Let us understand that the very organizations and systems that have been set up have been built on horrible circumstances. Let us understand that we are all connected, that we are all one, and that separation should no longer be a factor. It won't be a factor. At some point, separation will not be a factor. We will be at a point where there will be no more separation. That is my prayer. That is my prayer. And so if you found any sort of benefit from this message, if you can relate to it in any way, please give me a like or a comment. Even if you don't like it, leave me a comment. Tell me why. Again, this is my truth, and it's up for you to find your own truth in it. But please consider the things that I've just brought to you. In peace and love. Until next time, the saga continues.